Every single day, we're reminded that we truly are losing power in this world. And it's interesting to watch, all the pieces in the puzzle will just fit into a new world order, into a global control system where people, they just start to lose power. So Sony has announced that in 2028, the new PlayStation will have no disc. Everything's going to be digital, everything's going to be online. And it's just so crazy when you see it. I grew up in the age of gaming where it was the golden age, the golden eras, right? You actually got the physical copy of your game. You'll go to GameStop and you couldn't wait till you get home to open up the game. Or maybe if you're in a car and like your parents have to stop somewhere else before, going home, you couldn't wait. So you just, you take off the plastic carefully, then like you open up and you read the game book. You remember back in the days, like the video games came with the booklets, those manuals, and it'll have like the controls and like the different enemy types. I remember Halo having that, and you'd be able to read that, and it just felt like an experience actually seeing your video games and having a collection. Now, when a big corporation like Sony does this, Microsoft is going to follow, and eventually Nintendo. But it's going to maybe take some years before that, right? But when you see this, man, it goes to show you. Oh, what makes this all worse is that like it goes to show you that you really have no power in this world. Honestly, I know video games seem like a small thing, but you got to understand if they're doing that to video games, and previously Sony just took away like 500 different movies off of Sony's platform, and it didn't matter if you pay for it. So there were movies people paid $20 for, $15 for, some even more. Entire series that Sony just took down because it was all digital. So those people would have spent, that amount of money on physical. They would have still had their items, but it was all digital, and Sony took it away. So it goes to show you that it's not really good, man. It's not good for gaming. It's just so crazy how anti-consumer they are, so anti-human. It seems like that's why I say, man, like this world is ran by beings that just want to take away our funds. They just want to make us miserable. Like it doesn't sound like much, right? But imagine you spend $100 on just a video game code, and something happens. Your console gets hacked. Maybe just something happens where you get locked out your account, or maybe one day like the game developer just disappears. You guys remember that game called Evolved? I don't think people even remember that game, but it was a game called Evolved, and you play you play like a giant monster creature. Like there's like these hunters, and you gotta uh hunt down like the hunters, and the hunters had unique powers and specialties, and the monster creature had like a lot of health. Well, you can't even play that game now, and so many games that came and went that you can't even really play them online anymore. The servers are gone, they're offline, like you can never play them again. And then I heard like Sony's they're closing down the PlayStation 3 store, which means that if you don't get some of those digital games now, or any of those games now, you'll never be able to get them. I just think it's crazy because we're going to an all digital future eventually. This is bigger. This is a bigger deal than just video games and all that. This is something where in the future they're gonna they're gonna turn into digital money. A digital monetized global system. You know, uh, so basically nations are not going to have their own currency. It's just going to be a global currency, one world order, one world government, one world banking system. It makes things a lot easier to control, and it's going to be on numbers, right? I mean, look at your bank account. Do you carry all of your bank account money with you at all times, or do you have a bank account? You have a savings account, checking account. You have different accounts, and different. Sometimes you may have different banks. Do you keep all that money on you at once? No, it's in the system. You just see it, and you see a number on a screen, and So we're already in that world now, but wait till they just make it where the physical money is gone. Then they'll have total control, and wait till they start having Elon Musk brain chips. It sounds crazy now, but when they start having you know laws and rules and regulations in place, it takes a while to soften people up. You know, I remember a time where people like the consumers, they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. If you don't want to buy digital, then don't buy it. Keep buying physical." But I was like, the fact they gave this an option, this is what they really want. I was saying this a long time ago, and people were calling me a conspiracy theorist. And now Sony announces it themselves, and now everybody want to hop on the bandwagon and be like, "Oh yeah, we knew this." Like, nah, a lot of people agreed with what these corporations are doing. Let's be real, like a lot of people are NPCs. They don't have any critical thought or analysis, and when he's like they were kissing these corporations' butts. I remember when The Last of Us 2 came out, and there were legitimate, arguments about the grievances about that game, and then Sony and what was his name? I forgot his name. Was it Druckerman or whatever his name is? He's one of the writers on it. He's like the main writer on it. He was just talking crap about people that had legitimate grievances about that game. And there's other things that Sony pushes, and it's just you can see the direction where they're going. You can just see it. You can see the direction they're going for the future of gaming, the future of life, the future of everything. You can just see the direction they're going. And it's going to a system where you'll own nothing, but you'll be happy. You'll have no assets, you have no physical anything, but you'll be happy. And you'll go to the 9 to 5 every day, get the money, pay bills, and be in that cycle forever. You know? I remember a lot of games I got were used, when I was coming up. I did get new games, I got new games, but there was times where I got used games. Now, when you only had this digital thing, you can't really get pre-owned games or anything like that. So what's crazy to me is that they're going to make everything digital, but they're not going to lower the prices. They're going to keep the prices at $100 plus. So they're just screwing over the consumer. And people just support it. Like when I heard that Grand Theft Auto 6 is not going to have any disc or any physical copies, I was like, I thought that was a joke because it seems ridiculous. Gaming is over. They want to control every aspect of our happiness, everything that can give us a little glimpse of joy. They want to control it. But you know what? I got a back catalog of a lot of games I haven't beaten. I still got to beat Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Like I got the original one on 360, and I got the Xbox One version. I still got to finish Mirage, Grand Theft Auto 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, and a few others. Dragon's Dogma, the first one and the second one, but I'm still in the beginning of the first one, right? And then a few other games that I just never got along to beat. And it's like these retro games are better. They were just better made. I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4, and I was like, damn, this game has so much soul. I'm listening to the radio. I'm listening to like the, what's it called? Those little skits in the radio. Those skits in the radio on Grand Theft Auto? That'd be so funny. Those little commercials and stuff, and I'm looking at the graphics, the rain physics. I'm looking at animations. I'm like, this game was made with soul. And then when you look at the new video games now, like that new Saints Row game, or was it Saints Row? I think it's Saints Row. But I remember the original Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. Those were good games. But when it came to Saints Row 3, that's when I stopped playing that series. But those games are whack now. Like that series is garbage. The video game industry, I think, needs to crash. Honestly, it needs like a reset. It needs to crash. It needs to get reset, because I think then they'll let people like, maybe all this stuff, still these corporate dupes. They'll let people like me and others who are creative come into this industry and really set some revolutions. Come with innovative, creative techniques, make our own video game engine, have games that are designed for our own engines, and make sure everything on release is good. Not that many bugs or glitches, none if possible. But things happen. Make sure that our game is optimized for all systems and for the PC. And make sure that it's good, and put our heart and our souls into it, and try to make a good video game that entertains people. Remember, video games are supposed to be fun, not stressful. Every time I play Fortnite and Call of Duty, it's like I'm in an MLG match. Like they put me with the best players in the world. Like they never miss. I turn the corner, but I don't have a chance. It's just ridiculous. It's like I gotta really, really try. When sometimes I just want to just sit back and chill, listen to a podcast, and but it's crazy, man. The video game industry is pretty much cooked, man. They're pretty much they want everything to be all digital. And once it's all digital, they can take away your games at any moment. They can take away your games at any time. You don't own it. So it's like, what's the point of paying? Like, what's the point of paying full price for these things. They should make these games $25 then, since we don't own them. So since we're just buying a license to use the game, to make these games $25 then, instead of making them $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6. Grand Theft Auto 6 should cost $25, $30 since you don't own the game, right?